we should write it first for convenience, although we can still find the important parts of the parabola using this form. Okay, but let's try to write it in y equals a times x minus 3 square, no, h square plus k form, the vertex form. Okay, so how do we do that? By completing the square. So we can rewrite it first into negative x squared minus 3x plus 10. A is not 1, it's negative 1, so let's factor out the negative part. Okay. Then after that, we will complete the square of the inside. We will add half of 3 is 3 over 2, square that, that's 9 over 4. Then minus 10, then another minus 9 over 4. So we have, factoring this, we have x plus 3 over 2 square minus 49 over 4. Distributing the value of a, so we will have negative, final, we have negative minus 49. Oh, it's become positive because when you multiply that here, that becomes positive. Okay. Okay. So we are now ready. Okay, we are now ready. So in finding the x-intercept, this is very useful in finding the vertex, this one. Okay. But in finding the x-intercept, you can still, and y-intercept, you can still use this. Okay, you can still use that. So let's try a. What is our the first important part? So again, let's rewrite it. Y equals 10 minus 3x, 10 minus 3x minus x squared. If we rewrite that, it becomes positive. Okay. A is that opening of the graph. Okay. A is negative 1, that's negative. The graph opens downward. Okay. So by this time, we know that the graph opens downward. So letter B. Okay. So in letter B, we are looking for x-intercept. X-intercept. Okay. So in looking for x-intercept, again, since x-intercepts are points on the x-axis, okay, the y is always 0. So we let y equals 0, then solve for x. So in letting y equals 0, we can either use this one depending on which one is easier for us, okay, to solve for x afterwards. I think the first one is because they are just actually the same. They're just written in different form, but they are actually the same equation, okay, or the same function. So I think we can use the first one. We let like that. We can make the x positive by saying multiplying it all by negative. So we'll have x squared plus 3x minus 10 equals 0. So in this case, guys, in this part, you can now solve for x using any methods. Completing the square, factorization, quadratic formula. Okay, so you can solve for x using quadratic formula. But I think this is factorable, so we'll solve it using factorization. Okay. In this case, we have x plus 5 equals 0, and that eventually will give us negative 5. Oh, the graph will go down. So from A, so let's complete first. X minus 2 equals 0 for this one, and that is x equals 2. Okay. Oh, we know that the graph opens downward. Upon going down, it will pass through this point. The x-intercepts are negative 5, 0, and 2, 0. It will pass through negative 5, 0, and it will pass through 2, 0. So we have already that information. It goes down, and it will pass through these 2 points on the x-axis. Okay. Next is letter C. Y-intercept. Okay. Y-intercept is a point on the y-axis. Okay, meaning x will always be 0. So we say let x equal 0. Then solve for y. Okay. So what's the equation again? So we can use either of these two. Okay. So we have 10 minus 3x minus x squared. So y equals 10 minus 3x minus x squared. So substituting x equals 0, 0. So equals y equals 10. Oh, meaning the graph will pass through 0, 10 from above. Okay? From above. So how do you do that? Letter D. So it goes down from, remember, it goes down, it will pass through 0, 10, then after that it will pass through the x-intercept, the point on the x-axis. Letter D is the vertex. Okay? Let's go back to this one. Okay? So the vertex, so let's say right first. Okay. Plus okay, meaning the h here is, since this is positive, that's negative 3 over 2, or that is negative 1 and 1/2, or that is negative 1.5. So the k here is 49 over 4. This is 12 and, am I correct? It's 12, yeah, 12 and 1/4, or simply 12.25. So meaning our our vertex is from negative 1 and 1/2 on the left side, then from up at 12 and 1/4. Oh, okay. Then letter E is our axis of symmetry. This one helps us to perfectly sketch our graph, because it somehow divide the graph into 2 equal parts. Okay. Of course, that's the equation. So we have x equals negative 3 over 2. Okay. So we are now ready to sketch. Okay. Since the highest point is 12 and 1/4, look at this. Then the lowest point on the negative part is, oh, okay. So from there we can now sketch. Let's try to look at first. So we can just do that. Let me just analyze first the graph. I think that's it. So say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, because there's 12 and 1/4. Okay, that's 13 here. Then let's just do it. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it goes, the first part is that, important part is that it goes down. Okay, then it passed through negative 5, 0 and 2, 0. So if we're going to locate that one there, okay, negative 5, 0 and 2, 0. Okay, then after that it will pass through 0, 10 for letter C. That's 0, 10 here. Okay, then the vertex is at 1 and 1/2 and 12 and 1/4. Okay, negative 1 and 1/2 meaning to the left, negative 1 and 1/2 here, then go up to 12 and 1/4. The 12 and 1/4 is somewhere here. This is 12 and 1/2, this is 12 and 1/4. That's somewhere here. The point is here. Okay, so that's negative 1 and 1/2 and 12 and 1/4. So the axis of symmetry is just the line, draw a line intersecting that vertex. So let's use another. So here, we have to use a ruler. Okay, then it's somehow here, symmetric of that point. We can use that. Oh, so look at there. This our graph now is now a little bit forming. So we can just go down, then and that is good already. So we have now our sketch. So this one is sketch of y equals 10 minus 3x minus x squared. Okay. Next. How about that? So we don't have a problem. We don't need to rewrite it. So we can now proceed to our opening of the graph. So A, opening. So A equals 1. There, that's 1. The graph opens upward. Okay, it opens upward. Letter B. X-intercepts. X-intercepts is just the let y equals 0. Solve for x. So here we can say 0 equals x plus 1 square plus 4. So we have, take away positive 4, it becomes negative 4 equals x plus 2 square. Look at this. This is what the one I want to point out. If we're going to take the square root of that, we cannot have a square root of a negative 4, right? So that is not a real number. meaning no x-intercepts because we cannot continue anymore. This is the reason. Okay, we're taking the square root of a negative. So, oh, look at that. So we are now facing a dilemma wherein we know that the graph opens upward, but it does not cross the x-axis. So imagine the graph. It goes upward, it does not cross the x-axis. So one thing in mind, the look of that goes like this. If this is the x-axis, I think it's above the x-axis. Okay, so that is our first picture of the graph. Okay, next, letter C. Is it also possible that the graph will not cross the y-axis because the next one is the y-intercept? Okay, so let's try y-intercept. That's letter C. Y-intercept. Okay, so how do that? Let x equals 0, solve for y. Okay, so what's that again? That's x plus 1 square plus 4. So substituting 0 in x, so we have 5. Oh, it goes up. It does not cross the x-axis, meaning it's above. Our first picture a while ago shows that it's kind of above the x-axis, but it passed through 0, 5. 0 for x, 5 for y. Okay, how about the vertex? Okay, so from that, the vertex, the function was, okay, h is -1, k is +4, the vertex is -1, 4. Oh, it's -1, 4. So that's I think that's correct, because -1, 4, -1 to the right, 4, the lowest point, guys, the lowest point is -1, 4, meaning, yeah, -1, 4 is above the x-axis. So we are getting a correct picture of the graph. Letter E, axis of symmetry. Okay, axis of symmetry, that gives us this one in terms of x, -1. So x equals 1, that's the line that will divide the graph into 2 equal parts. So we are now ready to sketch our graph. Okay, the highest point is 0, 5, I think. It doesn't have x-intercept, so our informations are very limited. So let's try to graph it. Since it's above the x-axis, I will try to lower down the x-axis. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can, in sketching, guys, you are free to make your own scaling. Then 6. So let's try. What's the first information? We know that the graph opens upward, but it does not cross the x-axis. But it does cross, okay, it does cross 0, 5. So there's 0, 5 here. Let's use another color. It does cross there. Okay, so we know also that the vertex is at -1, 4. -1, then 4 here. Oh, that is only our limited look of the graph. Okay, so after that, we know that there's a line, x equals 1. So let's draw that line first here. -1 rather, x equals -1. Okay, so by using that line, we can get the other point on the left side for the symmetric purpose. and I'll call it as the black dot there. Oh, so the general picture of our graph, it goes up, it does not pass through the x-axis, it passes through 0, 5. The lowest point is negative 1, 4, and it goes up, and this is our graph. That is just a sketch, of course. So again, when you say sketch, we just use the important parts to have a general look of what the graph looks like. Graphing, drawing the graph, meaning we are really using the specific points using a table of values. That's all for this video.